Are you a fan of the Dragon Ball Super card game? If so, check out QueenCityGaming.com for sealed product, singles, and more. Just use promo code MafubaJar-10 to save 10% off your order every time.
Welcome back to the Mafuba Jar. We've been sitting away for another awesome video. Now, we're going to keep going with what we did on last Friday's video, and we're going to go ahead and look at skeleton lists of deck ideas that are going to be coming out with a new anniversary set. This time, we're going to get a lot more involved with the anniversary set, just having a lot more cards from that set into the deck, including the leader itself. So let's go ahead and take a look at our brand new leader. It is going to be the Towa leader, and honestly, for those of you guys who've been playing for a little bit while now, we've known this leader was coming for a very long time, because many of the older mirror cards, their effects are based on either having an android leader or a Towa leader. So we've known that we were going to get this eventually. I'm a little bit surprised that they did it for this and not for like a main set or something like that. But Bandai will do what Bandai will do. Now, overall, this is actually a very interesting leader. Like, a lot of very unique things about her that we've never seen in leader cards before. So, we're going to go ahead and take a look at her. She does have an activate main on her unawakened side. It's a once per turn, and it is a burst 3. I say it like that because of Janema Mill in the format right now, but this is an overall base deck, so we do actually need some ways to get cards in the drop area. So it's just gonna be tricky against a Janema Mill, but everything else is fine. You get to look at your top 5 cards for either a Mira or a Fu, and add it to your hand. So that's another way to search Mira, and we finally have a way to search Fu cards, so that's really, really cool. And her awaken is also very unique. She awakens when you have 10 cards in your warp. Not life or anything like that, just cards in warp. And she restands energy and she draws a card. Now let's go ahead and take a look at her awakened side. Towa Chaos Bringer. She has 2 effects. She doesn't draw a card when she attacks, which we've seen that before in leaders, but it's a very uncommon thing to see in leaders. But her effects, I feel, almost make up for it. So her first effect is going to be revolving around mirror battle cards. So it's an activate main. You send 3 cards from your warp to your drop area, and one of your mirror cards gains critical for a duration in a turn. So that's really, really awesome. So we have a lot of heavy hitting mirrors out of the game right now. To give a crit on top of that, that's just really good. Just crazy. And her other skill is pretty cool as well. So once per turn, activate battle, you pitch a card and you tap an energy, and you get to negate a keyword skill on the attacking card. So that's just really, really cool. Like, you get to negate like a double strike, triple strike, crit, just any of that annoying stuff. You could go ahead and just negate that. So very, very interesting leader overall. Really good for the mirror support cards out there, because personally, I love the Mirror deck. The Mirror deck is so fun. Not to mention, Mirror is actually one of my favorite Dragon Ball characters overall. I just love his design. I love his attitude. I just like everything about him. And I would just love to do a cosplay of him someday. But I would need to get really buff for that. Alright, so let's go ahead and focus on the deck itself here. As I said, we're going to be running a lot more of the new cards than in last Friday's video. First one's going to be Supreme Kai Time Disruptor. I went over this in the Goku Black deck profile on Friday, but just a quick little reminder, she is a 1-drop counterplay card. You draw a card, and your opponent cannot attack you with battle cards of 2 costs or less for the duration of their turn. So it's a pretty good card to keep yourself from taking too much damage early on. We're also going to be running 3 copies of Time Control Klonoa, because we don't like going against Shugesh. We like playing Shugesh, but we don't like facing it, so Klonoa is definitely going to help us out with that. Going to be running 4 copies of Towa Space Time Unleashed. So 1 drop, and you look at your top 7, you get to reveal a Mira or Mass Sand and add it to your hand. We're not playing any Mass Sands in this skeleton list here, but obviously it's a skeleton list. Cards can very easily be changed around. And if you want to go ahead and add some Mass Sands in there, that's perfectly fine. You'll already have a card to search them out. And Mass Sand cards overall got some really awesome support too. Now I'm going to be playing a card that was very bad when it first came out, but it may not be so bad now, and that's going to be Heavenly Wizard Demigra. Now, during your turn, you could combo with this card, and if your opponent has 3 energy or less, you get to knock out one of their battle cards that has 30,000 power or more, ignoring barrier. Now, when that first came out, this was like, what is this? Like, there's like maybe one situation we could ever use this in, and even then, they're gonna have more energy out by then. But with Green Broly being a huge part of the meta right now, they're able to get out the big 8-drop 35,000 Broly by 3 energy, or even sometimes by 2 energy if they get their stuff outright. And when you like survive it, because there's plenty of cards in here that can help you survive that. So you go do that, you survive. You can just come with this card when you attack, knock out the Broly, knock out that devastating card. So trying it out for a little bit, but for a more secure list, I'd say this might be a side deck card. But for right now, just showing you guys things you could put in there. Just kind of like a basic list, as I said. It's a basic skeleton list. Not something to be taken the most seriously, but just some things I put in that you guys could be running. And I just thought it was an interesting card. Now we are going to be running 4 copies of Supreme Kai Time World's Protector as our super combo. Even though we have a lot of black super combo cards now, for an overrun based deck, this is still your best super combo. Because you get to activate the draw and 10k power when you have 5 cards in your warp, which you could do that turn 2, turn 1 almost if you do your stuff right. So yeah, very, very quick to bring out. We are going to be running 2 copies of Haru Haru. Now, Haru Haru is an amazing card in this format right now, because it's a critical. You can mill the top 2 when you play her. Though in most matchups you probably don't want to activate that, and that's okay because you don't have to. But the other auto is the one you really want to do. You get to restand 4 of your energy when you play her if your opponent's leader is a green or yellow. Which, as I said, Broly is one of the biggest decks in the format right now. Not to mention, yellow leaders are still pretty popular, especially the yellow Broly. So, being able to just like play a 1-drop, I'm just going to say an example. You play the 1-drop Towa to search for a Mira. You go ahead and play a Haru Haru, then tap to 3, have her out, and you get to restand to 4 just to be able to play some more cards all over again. So, Haru Haru is really, really good. It's one of the most common side deck cards out there right now, but for overrun based decks, I say you could definitely main deck this. And now we're going to get into some of our more specific stuff. More for like Mira. First Mira we're going to be running here is Mira from the Darkness. Now this was something we got from the very first Dark Villain expansion set. It's still a pretty good card. It's a 4-drop, but we don't really worry about those with Overwhelm. It's an Overwhelm 4, and when you play this card with Overwhelm, it gets critical. So you gotta send 4 cards from Drop to Warp, and you have a 20k crit now. It's pretty good still, even by today's standards. One of the new cards I am going to be running is going to be Bardock Awakened Instincts. Now this is a really awesome Overwhelm card. So it's an Overwhelm of 4, you don't pay any energy, and when you play this with Overwhelm, you draw 2 cards, and you get to pitch a card from your hand. So that's just really amazing to have that kind of draw power without having to tap any energy. Like, that's just amazing. And it's really a low Overwhelm cost too. Like, only 4. Like, you could easily get that turn 1. And now let's go into some of our Fu stuff. We've got 2 copies of Dimensional Banisher Fu. Now this is a card that's been around for a little bit while, and it did see some play when it came out for quite some time. It still sees a little bit of play here and there. But now, our leader could search this. So, yeah. I'm sorry. So it's an Overwhelm 5, costs 1 energy, and has double strike, so that's pretty cool right there. But it's also got the auto to where you play him with Overwhelm, and you get to send one of your opponent's battle cards to the warp permanently. So, really good spot removal. It helps get rid of the Broly's as well, but you have to pay 1 energy versus possibly paying 0 energy. Which you gotta pick. Anyways, now let's go on to another card that we haven't seen in a little bit of time. It's Force Destruction Mira. Now what this card does is that it's a Xeno Evolve of 5, so that means that you send a Mira that's already in your battle area to the warp, and you get to play this guy in active mode. Has triple strike, so that alone is pretty dang good. but it's got the auto to where if your leader card is an android or a Towa, your opponent has to send 3 cards from their hand to the warp if you evolved on top of this, which Xeno Evolve does count. So really good card. There is some hand destruction in this deck, because Mira did focus a little bit on hand destruction. And this did come out in our first kind of special expansion set, and it was honestly a really good Mirror card at the time, and I'm still going to be playing this card, just because I really do like it, and it's a really good game ender. Speaking of Mirrors, we're going to be running 4 copies of the new Mira Self-Reformation, or Reformation, however the heck you pronounce it. If I'm butchering up the pronunciations, please forgive me. So, he's a 5-drop, a little bit high, but just hear me out on this one for a second. He's got Double Strike and Union Absorb. You get to take a Towa from your warp, put it under this guy, and you get to play a Mirror with a cost of 7 from your deck onto him in active mode. And that Union Absorb is free. So that's really cool. Because anything that wasn't Cell or the first Majin Buu, you almost always have to pay for Union Absorb. But this one's free. And his permanent is if you have 10 or more cards in your warp, you get to go ahead and reduce his cost by 1. So he's a 4-drop with all that. It's not too bad. I'd still rather pay 4 and 5 for this, honestly. So, and right here, Mirror Creative Absorb is what we're going to be focusing on. Now, for those of you who play competitively, you know this card very well. Like, this is like arguably the most played card in the game. Like, I'm up there with Sensu Bean and all that. Like, you can't really not run this card if you have it. It's just too good of a game ender. So let's go ahead and take a look at why it's so good first. It's an overall 4. You tap 1 energy. It has Deflect, 30k base power, and when you attack with him, it gains 5,000 power for each card in your warp. So this card can easily like get close to 200,000 power before you even combo with anything. Like, that's just crazy. But this card does have another effect that most decks can't really bring out, but this deck can. So it's other effects that when this card is played with Union and your leader card is a Towa or an android, your opponent has to put 3 cards away from their hand and send them to the warp, and it gains Double Strike. So they lose cards, and it's a Double Strike plus all that. So just give you guys a scenario. Let's say you have like 120. That's actually a little bit on the lower side, but like 120 with its second auto when he attacks with Double Strike, and not to mention you gave him crit 2 with the Towa Chaos Bringer. So already with this Mirror, if they don't have a negate, it's basically a guaranteed hit. And if they don't have a negate with all that, it's a guaranteed Double Strike critical. Like, do you know how deadly a guaranteed double crit is? Just, man, it's just brutal. So brutal. And now we're going to go ahead and take a look at some more of our Fu cards here. First off, I am running 2 copies of Scientist Fu. Now this card I saw a lot of play in earlier metas. It still sees a little bit of play here and there though. So overall 7, tap 1, has Double Strike, and when you play with overall, draw 2 cards. So it's another way to just draw into all the cards we need. And now I am also going to be running 2 copies of the new Fu, the Dark Banisher we are getting in the Anniversary set. He is a triple attack, so that's really cool. Overall of 8, tap 4 energy, and your opponent cannot activate skills on cards without discarding one of the cards. So they have to pitch cards every time they want to activate any kind of skill, which is just disgusting. Like, it really adds to the hand destruction that this deck can do. So that's really awesome. And of course, for any overall base deck, we are going to be running Beyond Darkness Demigra as our secret rare. Now, he's a triple striker, Dark Overwhelm, which that means, yeah, you have to have that many black cards in your deck, which this is literally a mono black deck, so you don't have to worry about that. Dark Overwhelm 7, you tap 5 energy. Again, triple strike, and the auto is when this card attacks, you get to pick 4 cards from your opponent's hand, look at your opponent's hand, and pick 4 battle cards and just combo with them. So it's basically a guaranteed, almost a guaranteed win if they don't negate it. But this card is a little bit expensive. It is actually one of the best secret rares in the game right now. So if you're not able to afford this card, I personally recommend just adding just like another support card here. Like if we're just going purely on the skeleton list, you could like add another Scientist Fu, another Dark Banisher, you could add another Force Destruction, another Haru Haru, another Supreme Kai, another Cronoa. Like there's a lot of things you can do. Like you don't necessarily need the Demigra to have this really good deck. Because the Demigra is great. It's fantastic. But there's really not really a way to search it. So it's just a pure luck card if you draw into it. So again, if you have it, great, put it in a deck. If you don't have it, it's not the end of the world. You don't need it to have a successful overall deck. Now let's go ahead and take a look at just some of our extra cards here. I am running 3 copies of Minus Keely Zone. So the Marian Absorb has Deflect, so I don't have to worry about any counterplay cards there. But I had to worry about it for all of my other stuff because that's literally the only card in here that has it. So definitely don't want Bloodlusts. It's kind of an iffy thing with the Preemptive Strike. Because yeah, it goes straight to the drop area, but half the time we don't even pay energy for it, or if not pay very little for it. So my biggest thing is Cold Bloodlust I don't want to go through. Because yeah, a lot of this stuff can't even be preemptive. Just Bloodlust. And yeah, that's just bad. Bad, bad, bad. And I am also running 4 copies of Power Burst. Now, there's a chance we get to play this card for free. Not guaranteed because we're using overall almost every turn. But just have a chance of a free card, a free negate is always good. Not to mention, when we do play the Power Burst, you can get a black 1-drop from your drop or warp, which we do have targets for that, so we don't need to worry about that. And with that, guys, this is going to bring this deck profile to an end. As I said, I can't stress it enough, this is just a skeleton list of what you could do. By no means am I saying this is like the finalized list. Same thing with the Goku Black. Like nothing I'm going to be profiling here, if I do make my more profiles of the special anniversary stuff in the future, is going to be like official final stuff. Like we need the physical cards and we need like tournament testing, stuff like that, before we're really able to see for sure where this stands. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that subscribe button. Please, please, please hit that notification bell, like, and comment down below. Let me guys know what you think about this neat little list here, what kind of changes you would make, what ideas you have for the deck. And yeah, overall, just a really, really fun deck. Definitely recommend, even if you don't want to use a Towa leader, just use like one of the 2 mirror leaders we have, or even a Demigra leader if you want. Like they all kind of like co-work together, all in the same thing. So, with that guys, I hope you have a fantastic day. See you guys next time, and you've all been released.